welcome to Cinema, the show that can do more with $180 million than Disney, apparently. Speaking of which, you know the Acolyte, the new Star Wars show, that I think has been getting hated on way too much by the internet. And if more shows like this keep getting lower and lower ratings, it'll lock Disney in an endless cycle of digging Star Wars as a franchise into a deeper and deeper grave. So you know the Acolyte, the new Star Wars show with a 14% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is ridiculous. Every piece of Star Wars media deserves at least a 50%. Yes, even the sequels, or Solo. Like, guys, Spookily the Square Pumpkin has a higher audience rating than this show. A crappily animated pumpkin is beating out a $180 million budget show. And I know most of this comes from, like, the questions like, how old is Ki-Adi-Mundi? He's now in this show. That doesn't make any sense. And, like, how did Chimera kill that entire Jedi Strike Force on Kofar? Or why are there lesbian witch cults? Which, I mean, that's what the Dathmiri Night Sisters were, in principle. I mean, maybe not lesbian, but the Clone Wars was still a hit show. Most of how Chimera killed all of those Jedi on Kofar was due to the fact that the Jedi believed they were the dominant power in the galaxy. They weren't trained for this. They hadn't dealt with the Sith in a millennia. Plus, they completely charged Chimera. The Jedi didn't organize themselves in a manner where their numbers would overwhelm Chimera, or just better positioning. They were completely unprepared for this. And this is Chimera's next great move. He further confines them to the trees, so that it'll be even harder for the Jedi to use their numbers to overwhelm them. Combined with the fact he uses cortosis and no lightsaber form. Now, for those of you who don't know, cortosis is a lightsaber disabling metal. And only he uses the cortosis as a sensory deprivation helmet as well, allowing him to be more connected to the Force than any of the other Jedi. And that's another bonus of this, his lightsaber form, or rather, his lack of one. Also confusing the Jedi further, because they didn't know what to expect. Further is that I expect Chimera also used Force energy to get into the Jedi's mind during this fight, further incapacitating them, leading to his victory. I initially thought Ki-Adi said in The Phantom Menace, there hasn't been a known Sith in a century, which fits quite well into this scenario, but then I realized he says millennial, which further pushes the fact it's likely just a Disney cameo that really degrades the character. But let's say it's not our favorite potato head that doesn't pay child care due to his religious beliefs. And then I realized this is Star Wars we're talking about. Now, he's in his mid-50s, so I'd say like 55, which would put him at 155 or 56 in The Phantom Menace, and 168 in Revenge of the Sith, which kind of makes sense since Master Vernesta Rowe is 116 in The Acolyte. Again, she's also a different species, but then you realize the lifespan for a Syrian. A male Syrian lives only about 50 years. Now, let's say he lives as long as a female, which puts him at 100. 168 and 100, yeah, you see the gap there. That doesn't make any sense. Plus, in Star Wars lore, he was born in 93 BBY, and the Acolyte takes place in 132 BBY, a whole 39 years later, placing Ki-Adi-Mundi at roughly 74 during Revenge of the Sith. And I guess that's basically all there is to it. Now, as someone who watched most of The Acolyte, except the finale coming out this Tuesday, I'd say you watch it again. Like, this show's story might not be the best, but the choreography is masterful. And there's so many aspects of the show that are good, although there are definitely some bad moments. And I'm definitely curious how the story wraps up with the season 1 finale. And that's all. But that's just a theory. How to be a better fan base theory. Thanks for watching.